Hey Grapes, happy hump day and happy spooky season. Halloween is right around the corner, so we hope everyone is having a hauntingly good holiday month.
Still feels like it's a few weeks away, but God, like this month is already going by.
I know, we're like almost through the halfway through October.
Yeah.
I'm Sammy, one of your hosts, and I am joined by my smoke show of a co-host slash husband, and this is Creepy Cascadia Podcast. We threw everybody, including ourselves, for a loop there by changing up our intro a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you say smoke show. It's because I was grilling earlier today, and I just smell like smoke right now.
Which is super funny because I wrote the intro to this yesterday, and it just worked out.
It did.
Mm-hmm.
Happy little accidents.
Happy little accidents. How are you today, love?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had the day off. It's a federal holiday.
Yeah.
Columbus Day in some places still, but Indigenous Peoples Day here in Washington.
Yep.
So, yeah, I did some of the things on the list, and other things just going to have to get done some other time.
They'll still be there
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
So if I sound blah today, I apologize. I'm very tired. Last night was very rough. I did not get much sleep, and I was not feeling great. So, yeah.
You got to do, they taught this in my super meetings class. You gotta sometimes raise, when you're facilitating, you gotta raise your energy.
Yeah.
So it's like you want to talk up here, you want to be excited, you want to be moving, and then when you get the team going, then you get to
Bring it
relax, you bring it down, you like rest a little bit. So, maybe what we should do is we should try that a little bit, we'd already talked about a little back and forth, maybe it could be like up for our part and then, rest a little bit while the other person's, maybe that could help.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Well, we hope everybody's having a great week.
That's got to be way too loud.
We
Good try. That was good.
Uh-huh.
But everyone else is like, everyone's driving, like, you probably just caused at least like 2 accidents.
It's like they saw me standing on the side of the road and they're like, "Ugh."
They were like, skirt, like, got all scared all of a sudden.
Well, we hope everybody's having a great week. We are out here just loving the fall weather we've been having. We've been having some like real crisp, sunny, cool fall days, which are my absolute favorite.
They're pretty good.
Although Saturday was like 80 this past weekend. So what the fuck? It was way hot. It's October.
It's October. Y'all need to calm down.
You need to cool your tits so we can all cool our tits because it's real hot. But yeah, and then today it started raining, which Pacific Northwest, it rains all the time. But those lovely fall cool days are my favorite. It's just like a vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, before we get started today, my love, I have a question for you. I know, shocker, right?
I was going to say, are we not already started? Or you mean the meat?
Before we get into the meat and the potatoes.
Yeah.
Potatoes.
This is all just appetizers, palate cleansers.
The amuse-bouche.
I don't think I've ever heard of that term.
What?
The amuse-bouche?
Yeah, amuse-bouche. It's a pre-appetizer.
Okay.
I learned it on Friends.
Okay. Some
Yeah.
episode I haven't watched, or maybe I have, and it's just so long ago.
Pretty sure it's the one with John Lovitz where he's stoned and he's the cook of or the owner of a restaurant or the manager of a restaurant, and Monica's trying to get a job there, so she cooks for him, but he's stoned and he can't wait for an onion tartlet. Anybody who listens to or knows Friends is going to know that episode.
Okay. I think we got some listeners who
I'm immediately
seen
going to my
Friends.
family that maybe listen that love Friends. So,
Yeah.
So my question for you: are there any superstitions that you believe in? I feel like I know there are some sports things that you maybe like do or follow, but any superstitions you believe in or partake in? Nosh on, nibble on.
I mean, you bring up sports. And sports are just so full of superstitions.
They really are.
I mean, you've got the different sports. I think it was like baseball for a while there had everyone grew beards during the postseason.
Okay.
There's always been, I feel like baseball is one of the most superstitious. Like, there'd be pitchers that would like jump over like the foul line,
Hmm.
to make sure that they didn't touch it,
Okay.
Um,
I
it's
I
just an oddity, yeah.
so the Mariners are playing really well right now, right?
No, they're out of
Are they? Okay.
yeah, they got eliminated.
They were doing okay, and Adam hadn't really watched any games, and then
Yeah.
he watched one and they won, so he said, "Oh my god, I got to watch it now because that's the super it's essentially the
Yeah.
superstition like I watched one and they won and they hadn't been, so now I have to keep watching."
Yeah.
And my cousin's husband had his like bobblehead out that
Yep.
he pulled out and they won. So
Yep.
yeah. I feel like there's a lot of superstitions in sports.
They did win 2 games. The first 2 games I watched here at the end of the year. They won both.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like most sports, they can't win all the time.
I mean, somebody has to win.
And so they lost the 3rd game and were eliminated from the playoffs
Yeah.
by that time.
Mm.
Yeah. Aww.
Aww. Yeah. So any other superstitions you think of that you do? The funny thing is there are probably things that you do that you don't even realize that are superstitions that you do just as a habit every day. You know? Or
Yeah.
for whatever.
So here's the funny thing. I don't believe in it,
Okay.
but I think it triggers other things in my personality.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not full OCD, okay? But I do have some tendencies from time to
Sure.
time.
Everybody's a little neurodivergent, I feel like.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
probably wish I was like the clean OCD, but I'm like the messy OCD,
I'm messy too,
Like-
so it's fine.
you know. Can't all be like Beckham who just spotlessly cleans his kitchen like every day.
I just was thinking that. We just watched the Beckham documentary
Netflix.
on Netflix. It was pretty good. I was super excited about it because it had Posh Spice and there was Spice Girls,
Mixed
behind
in
the
there.
scenes stuff. So, and I was
Yeah.
the ultimate Spice Girls fan. My friends and I all had our own little individual group that we played as. Yeah, my friends and I all had our own characters that we embodied.
You got really excited when I think they only had one clip that interviewed her, but Mel C,
Yeah.
Sporty Spice.
Yeah, that wasn't mine though.
Oh, it wasn't?
No.
Okay.
You want to guess what mine
You got
was? I just got excited because I knew Victoria was going to be in it, but then they had Mel in it too, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my gosh!" And then there were some other clips that they had that
Yeah, they had all
showed the girls, and there was one where they were watching a game in the hotel.
Yeah, they had
Yeah.
like footage from years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
Mixed into the documentary.
Mm-hmm.
It's like these people were public figures that were filmed at all times.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. You want to guess which Spice Girl I was though?
I feel like you've told me before.
I probably have.
Were you Baby Spice?
Nope, that was Amanda.
Scary Spice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whitest fucking person on the planet was Scary Spice. But I
Yeah.
loved her. I loved all of them, actually.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
So yeah,
what was Scary Spice's name?
Melanie B.
Okay, see, I thought she was a Melanie.
Mm-hmm. There was Melanie B, Melanie Brown, Melanie C, Melanie Chisholm.
Okay.
Emma Bunton was Baby Spice.
Yeah.
Jerry Halliwell was Ginger Spice.
That's the one I
And Victoria
know.
Beckham was
I knew
Posh
Jerry.
Spice.
Yeah, I knew Jerry.
Because you had a thing for redheads.
Had a thing for redheads, and I think if I remember right, she was the one that like may or may not have posed nude or something. That was like
She did in my fantasies.
no, but I mean like I thought that was a very big scandal for them, and actually was towards the end of them breaking up was something about.
I'm trying to remember. I know she was older than the other girls, and that was a scandal when it came out because I think they lied about how old she was originally.
Oh, okay.
Maybe she probably did. I mean, good. If you wanna pose naked, do it, man. If you're in control and that's your thing, go for it.
Yeah.
I've been listening to a lot of Girls Next Level podcast. So yeah, and I love the Girls Next Door, even though Hugh's a fucker. But Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like the girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back to our podcast.
Yeah. So back to our podcast. Yeah. So speaking of the, yeah, I don't believe in the step on a crack, break your mom's back. But I remember that being a thing when I was a kid, like a thing you would say, sing-songy, and then you would not step on cracks.
Funny enough, I just watched a Cyanide and Happiness cartoon about don't step on a crack. And
Yes.
did you see it?
I'm pretty sure I saw the same one.
Where the little girl's hopscotching and she's like, step on crack, break your mother's back. And she steps on it and her mom's back breaks and she's like, oh my God. And the father's like, for the love of God, stop. And then she does the dad one and nothing happens to him. And their neighbor all of a sudden bends over in pain, like backwards because his back. And the guy takes off. He's like, yay, I'm free.
Yeah.
So fucked up.
That ain't his kid.
Nope.
Cyanide and Happiness is so dark.
It is really dark.
So fucking dark.
I love it.
The one that actually isn't the one that I had seen.
Oh, okay.
The one I had seen was like a hostage situation.
Oh God.
And they were like, if you don't comply with the orders, we're gonna hurt your mom. And they'll be like, I can't pay. Okay. But just know that this is on you. And then it was like stepping on a crack.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Like, and they didn't even show like the mom getting hurt. It was just the fourth panel was like the robber or hostage guy stepping on a crack.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Cyanide and Happiness is pretty funny. This
Yeah.
was like an animated one though.
Oh, okay.
It was great.
Yeah.
I seen it on, I'm sure I saw it on TikTok.
That one, the one you mentioned, I've seen that one a while ago. Like, I think that's one of their more original, earlier ones.
It's probably because I was researching superstitions that my phone picked up and put that one on there.
Yeah, you want to talk about superstitions?
Yeah.
Phones listening. I think that's... I don't think it's a superstition. I think A, it's a real thing.
Oh, it is, absolutely.
And then B, it's not a superstition. It'd be a conspiracy theory, realistically.
But it's not.
But it happens.
But it happens.
Yeah, it totally happens.
Yeah.
Turns out everybody just has a microphone and a camera and
All day, every day.
all day, every day.
Well, if you guys didn't pick up on what we're talking about today, we're talking about superstitions. And the reason we're talking about superstitions is because this Friday is Friday the 13th.
Yes.
Yeah.
This has to be our first one. You have to talk about this.
Yes.
100%.
Yep. So that's pretty dope. Pretty excited. I love Friday the 13th. I'm very lucky on Friday the 13th.
Lucky?
I've had very good luck on Friday the 13th.
Okay.
I've won 2 sets of concert tickets and $1,000 on a Friday the 13th.
Really? Okay.
From different radio stations.
Yeah. Cattail whipping right next to your face.
After she took a huge shit.
Yeah.
Anyways. So yeah. So we're going to talk about Friday the 13th right off the bat.
Okay.
So
we're going to hit a bunch of superstitions.
We're talking about a few different superstitions. Yep.
Okay.
Because in keeping with the spooky season, this is also a few different superstitions, sort of like our urban legends episode.
Yeah.
We're doing a little variety show.
Yeah.
And Adam actually looked up a few as well. So we're both tag teaming it this time.
Yeah.
What? Are you ready, brother?
I don't. Unfortunately, I think it speaks volumes about my mindset that.
Oh, I know exactly what you went to. Because my mind went there first, but then I remembered you like wrestling, so I wanted to do the Macho Man Savage.
Yeah.
But tag teaming, we're not tag teaming each other. Now, if there was somebody else, then you guys would be tag teaming you.
One of us
me.
would be being tag teamed.
Yeah. I don't want to just assume it would be me.
Like a goddamn Chinese finger puzzle or whatever it was. That was such a good line out of Chasing Amy.
Oh, I was thinking of when you said goddamn, I was like, people popping out of the closet like a goddamn magician. Magic show.
Yep.
Same vibe.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so right off the bat, we're going to talk about Friday the 13th and the number 13 itself and the superstitions that are
Ooh.
tied to 13. There are several thoughts on where the fear of the number 13 or the superstitions tied to the number 13 have come from. The fear of the number 13 is called triskaidekaphobia, which makes me think of Letterkenny.
I was going to say, are you sure you got that right? Because I heard you listening how to pronounce that.
No, this was the other one I was listening how to pronounce, which I still don't know how to, but I'm going to try. So yeah, fear of the number 13 is called triskaidekaphobia. One theory has to do with the Last Supper. Judas Iscariot was the 13th guest at the Last Supper, and he was also the one to betray Jesus, resulting in his crucifixion. So, according to the Bible, Judas betrayed Jesus to the Sanhedrin for 30 pieces of silver. And why? He just did it because he wanted money? Is that essentially why?
No, I mean, he knew that they wanted to get to him or persecute him, right? Like,
and he didn't like Jesus?
There are a number of interpretations about why Judas did it. I would say one of my favorite is that he thought that Jesus was there to like lead a rebellion and overthrow the Roman Empire as like a Jewish, like their image of a Messiah was a Jewish religious / military leader.
Okay.
And by that point, by the time Judas betrays Jesus, like we're in year 2 of the ministry, and Jesus has very clearly made it very clear that he is not a military leader, and that this is a religious like awakening or movement, not a political one, it wasn't like based on nationalism, you know what I mean? And there's a number of things that, Jesus healed Romans, he healed Samaritans, so not every miracle was tied to a Jew. And there are definitely Jewish people were very like, they're the promised people. They're the, God's people. So like it's them versus the world in a lot of those mindsets.
Okay.
And Jesus, I think, showed that like it's people who just have faith. It's a God thing. So there was some of that.
Okay.
The second of my favorite interpretations, and people listening are probably gonna hate this. Like I know there's some of our listeners are gonna hate this, right?
Okay, well that's fine.
But there's a movie, The Last Temptation of Jesus Christ. It has Willem Dafoe in it. It was like a big name director. I'm trying to think if it's like Francis Ford Coppola, or if it's like Scorsese or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Big name director. Movie came out, somewhat blasphemous. Like the ending of the movie is like Jesus is crucified, raised up from the dead, and then marries Mary Magdalene and has kids. Like that's kind of like, so huge backlash against the movie
so
in the US.
Go. Can't make a wife out of a hoe. Oh.
Yeah.
But he did.
In this interpretation. And also in this interpretation, Jesus orders Judas to betray him.
Oh.
And Judas is like, I don't want to do that. And Jesus is like, you have to. Like, and he even talks to Judas in the movie. There's like it's not quick. There's a conversation where he's basically saying like, you actually have as hard of a job as I do. Like I have to die and come back.
But you have to be known as the person that betrayed me.
Yeah, you have to betray me and be known as the person who betrays me. And so there is that interpretation out there.
Well, hey, but you know
Judas.
what?
Yeah.
Judas, they wrote a song about him. Lady
Yeah.
Gaga did.
Yeah.
Because that's all I'm thinking about in my head.
Yeah.
Judah, 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 Judah. Have you heard that song?
No.
Oh, it's a Lady Gaga song called Judas.
Okay.
Stuck in my head. I'll have to play it for you afterwards.
Yeah. It's interesting that you bring up Judas because he comes up in at least one of mine.
Everybody wants to blame
superstitions
it on
I'm gonna-
Judas.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like he's the next best thing to the devil.
Yeah.
Like he took a lot of hate. I mean, he is known as the betrayer of Jesus. Like, and the Bible says he did betray him, right? So it's and really it doesn't give you motivation other than pure money.
Yeah.
And even in the Bible, I'm pretty sure he like throws the money back. Like after they kill Jesus, like Judas throws the money back in the temple and then kills himself.
Oh, shit.
Like hangs himself. And then the Jewish priests consider that money blood money.
Which, yeah.
And so they don't enter it into the rest of like the offerings, like the rest of their money, finances, however you want to call it. They go and buy potter's field. So there's all kinds of stuff that spins out of this. I'm pretty sure there's like I think there's like horror movies centered around like I think there's like a Dracula one that says like Judas is the original like vampire, like he doesn't really die.
I've heard that in movies before. Yeah. I think
yeah.
it's like Dracula 2000.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Dracula 2000.
Yeah.
The vampire is really Judas. Spoiler
alert for a movie that's been out for 20 fucking years.
And isn't that good?
Hey, I like that movie.
Okay. But it's like early 2000s movie.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, but there's other theories as to where this actually comes from as well.
Yeah.
So in Norse mythology, it said the 12 gods had gathered for a dinner in, some say, Valhalla, but 12 deities have gathered. And Loki, the Norse god of mischief and trickery, showed up, making him the 13th guest. His presence resulted in one of the other gods dying.
Okay.
They even talk about it in Harry Potter. The 13th, Dumbledore, when Dumbledore dies, because he...
I don't remember this.
It's in like the prophecy in the later books when he's talking to Trelawney.
Okay.
She had the vision that somebody would die, and I'm trying to remember because it's been so long since I read the books. It's either Dumbledore or Snape. She predicted their death because they were all having dinner with these 12 people. A 13th showed up, and the first one to get up from the table.
Oh.
It was like Dumbledore or Snape. I think it was Dumbledore. Dumbledore had gotten up when somebody came in as like to bow to them, and that made him the 13th person to stand up or something.
Okay.
It's been so long since I read the books, but yeah, they have talk about it in there too.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, another reason 13 is considered unlucky is because it follows the number 12. Now, you might be asking yourself why the hell that matters, because I was also curious. Apparently, the number 12 is considered a superior or perfect number.
Okay.
Ancient cultures based their calendar, clocks, months, 12 signs in the zodiac, etc., all based on the number 12. Right?
There's 12 tribes. There's 12 tribes of Israel.
Yeah, that was also one of them.
Yep.
So yeah, ancient cultures based the calendar, clocks, months. There's 12 signs in the zodiac. There's 12 tribes, like you said. So 13 is basically the redheaded stepchild because it follows the golden child of number 12. Yeah. So fear of Friday the 13th, or... Okay. This is the one I try to listen to the pronunciation, and it's probably... I'm going to butcher it, but that's okay.
Go for it,
I'm going to
babe.
try.
Go for it. You're going to do great.
Paraskevidectrophobia is the fear of Friday the 13th.
Oh,
so they
okay.
even have a more specific version of triskaidekaphobia.
Okay. Okay.
It factors in, like I said, the fear of 13 and also Fridays, which Fridays are awesome for those of us whose work week ends on a Friday, right?
Yeah.
It's the last day of the week. We're all happy.
Any kid from the 80s, TGIF.
Yes!
Thank God it's Friday.
It seems there's an association of Fridays being unlucky, which are tied to Christianity. Adam and Eve broke the one rule of the Garden of Eden and eating the apple. That's said to have occurred on a Friday. The execution of Jesus is also said to have happened on a Friday.
Yeah, we call it Good Friday.
I don't know why do they call it Good Friday if it's a day that your God dies? That seems a little.
Because it died for us.
Yeah, but that's not good.
It's the first of the redemption. It's the sacrifice.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems a little rude to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll ask him when I get there.
Okay. So the unlucky day tied to an unlucky number seems to cause some trepidation among certain groups or people. And I will say a lot of these seem to be based on Christianity or Western culture stuff.
Well, if they're ones that we've heard of, we live in a Western culture or a Christian. You know, as much as people want to say we're not a Christian base, like it is the predominant religion of our area.
Yeah. So while the association of 13 and unlucky have been around since ancient times, the fear of Friday the 13th actually started at the end of the 1800s and beginning early 1900s. Some folks take the fear so seriously that it actually affects our economy. There are people who refuse to leave their homes, go to work, or do anything on Friday the 13th for fear of something bad happening. So much so that the Stress Management Center and Phobia Institute said that every Friday the 13th, they estimate anywhere from $700 to $800 million is lost. And that was as of 2010.
That's weird. I mean, it's pretty crazy, that amount. But I guess if it coincides with like a payday Friday when everyone goes and has date night and stuff and splurges a little, I could see it.
People will avoid closing like a big business deal on a Friday the 13th. They'll wait. So I'm sure that probably factors into it too.
Yeah.
People will avoid traveling, making purchases, business deals, like I said. Some buildings even refuse to have a 13th floor.
Oh, yeah. That one's always crazy. That's when I'm like, people have gone too far.
Yeah. Which really, you have a 13th floor, you're just not labeling it as such.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Although, have you heard of the places that like build
like a section that would essentially be a floor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they build empty. Well, it's not even a full empty floor. It's like it'd be like build the 12th floor, then add just a layer of something to call it the 13th floor, and then build the next regular floor and call it the 14th floor.
Yeah. Yeah, they go from 12 to 14, but really we know the 13th floor is there, except in those situations, labeled or not. According to the same Stress Management Center, in the U.S. alone, around 80% of high-rises don't have a 13th floor. And it's also noted that hospitals, airports, etc., also avoid using the number 13 in their buildings. Not all, but some.
Okay.
So, unlucky or not, the superstition and the fear has a strong following. Personally, like I said, I have had great luck on Friday the 13th, so maybe I'm a witch.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like, yeah, you don't have a fear of it, so you're like, yeah, I'm going to call into this contest or something, and
I have
then you
positive
win, right?
associations with it.
Yeah,
so
you have positive.
I'm always excited for Friday the 13th.
Yeah. Now, when you started talking about some of those stats, I was thinking full moon. So what happens when a full moon coincides with the Friday the 13th? Oh, shit, y'all.
I'm going to turn into a werewolf that wins the lottery.
Okay, as long as I turn back into my loving wife.
Well, you doggy style's fine. It's okay. Got you good.
I don't want to have to deal with the tail.
We could dock it like they do some. Just have my butthole hanging out.
Just be like in my face like the whole time, like
tickle. I could reach around and tickle your balls with it.
Knowing me, I wouldn't like that. All right, we're cutting this anyway.
No, I'm leaving it in.
No.
Yes, I am. Now, okay, I have to mention, I'm not quite done with my Friday the 13th yet.
Okay.
So I do want to mention that while Western cultures view 13 as unlucky, there are other cultures and religions that view 13 as lucky. Swifties, for example.
I was gonna say if we talk about the number 13 and don't talk about Taylor Swift.
I read her, so when I was looking up things about Friday the 13th and fear of the number 13, she came up and she has a bunch of good associations with the number 13 as well. So
okay.
You know, I'm not saying I'm like Taylor Swift, but I'm not saying I'm not like her when it comes to the number 13.
Yeah.
That's about all we have in common. Yeah.
Do you got more
yes.
specific information about her and the number 13?
No.
Okay.
No.
Let me throw out. I'm going to take the stance of the conservative rich people, maybe, or not conservative rich people, conservative Christian people, and the idea that anybody who accumulates like lots of wealth and fame in the world has like made a deal with the devil.
Yeah.
So Taylor Swift being as popular as she is,
it's the Illuminati. Everybody knows.
and like in number 13, she's probably a witch or has sold her soul to the devil. I'm just putting that out there, semi sarcastically, semi not sarcastically. Definitely playing both sides here.
Do you think do you believe that when people accumulate a lot of fame that they sold their soul to the devil?
Yeah, I don't know.
So we could talk about the crossroads on another episode. Have you ever heard about that?
Crossroads?
Yeah.
Like the meet me at the crossroad.
Well, I mean, kind of.
Like Bone Thugs and Harmony?
It's said that some very well-known people, if you go to the crossroads, you can make a deal with the devil to become famous.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, it's totally up there on the list of like the idea that the devil has power in this world, has some power in this world, and the things he has control over are like money and fame because they are generally bad for you. like absolute power corrupts absolute.
So to that point,
Joel
Osteen, all these mega church pastors are all fucking made deals with the devil because they're all very well known and have a ton of money.
There are a decent number of my Christian friends that believe that exact same thing, that all these mega church pastors who are getting rich off of this stuff are essentially like what do you want to say? They're not believers because they would be like
doing something unholy.
Sure. Yeah. It's more the idea of like, if you have all this money, like, should you be helping poor people more? Should you be,
Yeah, not shutting your church off to hurricane victims or misplaced people after a natural disaster.
Yeah.
Joel Osteen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of religion in this episode because a lot of the superstitions tie back to religion. So
yeah, a few of mine did too. Yeah. So take our blasphemy or our whatever our when I throw out the conservative Christian view of like, yeah, it's like you got money and fame because you made a deal with the devil, and you backed it up with like, yeah, there's a story about the crossroads. Like you can go to a place and.
So if I get rich, are you gonna think I'm dollying with the devil?
No.
Okay. We already talked about it. I don't want to be famous. I just want the resources of a famous person,
right?
AKA the bank account of a famous person,
right?
But none of the recognition.
Yeah.
Because it sucks to be in the spotlight. It looks like.
Yeah. Throwback again to the Beckham documentary on Netflix.
So pagans also view 13 and Fridays as good luck.
Okay.
The word Friday comes from the word Frigg, which is the name of a Norse goddess who was the wife of Odin and queen of motherhood. So Fridays can be associated with femininity and motherhood. And that explains a lot. The patriarchy was probably like, shit, a day named after a powerful woman, we have to fear it because that's just going to create lots of problems.
I mean, there might be something to it.
Yep.
And
I would be remiss if I didn't mention one of the biggest horror franchises ever, Friday the 13th.
Yeah. Freddy Krueger's so scary. Gotcha, bitch.
Mm-hmm. Somebody gave me a ghost face statue or little figurine. They're like, oh, I got another horror thing for your desk. And they gave me a ghost face, and the note said something about, I know what you did last summer. And I was like, I don't know if he was joking or not. So I guess I can't really call him out. Yeah.
Should have been like, I was going to wait till Friday the 13th, but it's your day off.
Okay. Well, the franchise really doesn't have much to do with the date itself. According to the internet, Jason was born on a Friday the 13th. But with 12 movies, it's worth mentioning. That's a huge franchise.
Yeah.
And it's also one of my like top 5 in the franchises. The first one, great movie. And Freddy versus Jason, so fucking campy. Love it so much.
Yeah.
And just because I went down this weird rabbit hole, I actually did some checking. And I'm a little disappointed that only 5 out of the 12 were released on a Friday the 13th.
Yeah, that makes sense. You should only release them on Friday the 13th.
I mean, come on, you had a chance and you blew it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the first one I don't think was I don't think it was one of the I don't think the first one was released on a Friday the 13th. I could be wrong, but yeah.
Okay.
All right. So do you want to go on to one of yours?
Yeah, absolutely.
Superstitions?
Yeah. So, I want to keep going on with the kind of the superstitions from ancient times and numbers and how they play in, and talk about 7 years of bad luck from a broken mirror.
Okay.
Okay.
I have some thoughts on mirrors.
Yeah. So you've heard this, right? This is a common one.
Yeah.
So in my digging, it goes back to Greeks and Roman times.
Okay.
Again, ancient compared to us. The Greeks believed that seeing your reflection in a pool of water showed you what your soul was. Okay. And then the Romans similarly
The squeaks and creaks.
Yeah.
The scricks and quicks.
The Romans also believed that through a mirror, gods could view your soul and or like imbue you with some powers or something.
Ah, peeper, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. And so, of course, the Romans are credited with some of like learning to polish metal into mirror-like surfaces.
Reflective.
Yeah, reflective. And then
Your name is Mark. I just watched that episode of The Office where Michael uses the mnemonic device.
Yes.
Mnemonic devices to remember names, and he's like, your head is bald. It's shiny like a mirror. Mirror, your name is Mark. And he's like, yeah. And Karen's like, that's very offensive.
Yeah.
He's like, it's not. It's a great device.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. It is offensive. Because you're pointing out the first thing, it was bald, right? Yep. It's even better when Pam tries to do it and she just doesn't remember anybody's names. She just like picks on a guy.
Yep. Beardy, Shirt, Molly, Katie Lang. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so with this tradition, so the Romans made mirrors. In my research, I found one citation that said that by about 300 AD, so 3rd century, most mirrors were starting to be made from glass, and so they were breaking easier than like a metal mirror.
Okay.
You know?
Fair.
And so the superstition had already existed that breaking a mirror incurred some kind of, you either angered the gods or you've done something to your soul. And then the 7 years seems to come from, I guess the Romans believe that like within 7 years, like your body renewed itself.
God, if only.
Like, yeah, like your cells die and change. I almost think that like that's a common thing too. Not necessarily superstition, but like a thing that people believe that like over some amount of time, like all your cells
you're essentially
renew,
a new person.
and you're essentially a new person because like every cell within you will be dead by this point, and you'll only have new cells.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the idea of the 7 years of bad luck was tied to how long it took you to renew yourself because you have damaged yourself by breaking the mirror.
Interesting.
So
mirrors are a super, super common thing in not only mythology, but other superstitions. So
yeah.
for example, one of the superstitions I saw when I was researching is you're not supposed to put two mirrors facing each other
Oh, okay.
because it creates a portal for the devil.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one of the first times, like, I think they do it in like funhouse mirrors.
Yeah.
But when I got in trouble in middle school, like, I can't remember whose office it was, if it was the side office or if it was the principal's office or the vice principal's office. But they had a mirror on both sides of the room. And then, like, you had to sit in the middle of the room. And so it was like you looked to the left, you saw yourself. You looked to the right, you saw yourself.
That's probably some weird psychological hack they read in a magazine or something.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you do get the little, like, rebound. Like, it makes it seem like it goes off to forever. Yeah.
I know that some cultures also, if somebody dies, they cover all the mirrors because they're afraid. The belief is that your soul, if you die, your soul might get trapped in a mirror, so you
Yeah.
have to cover them so your soul can find its way to the next plane of existence.
Okay. Rather than getting trapped. Yep.
Oh
yeah. There's all kinds of stuff with the mirrors.
A lot of people think mirrors are real portals or very powerful tools in like divination.
Yeah.
There's like mirror games, like Bloody Mary's in a mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. But I didn't know about the 7 years regeneration thing. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, 7 years is seven is like a holy number.
Numerology. Yep.
Right?
It all ties back to numerology.
Yep.
Too.
More into the exactly. And so it's like, yeah, the idea that like you're made new after 7 years or, yeah, it's a bad luck.
Yeah.
Speaking about mirrors, I showed you that Doctor Who one, right? The Doctor Who episode that was like freaky, where the family that like lives forever, and he traps the little girl in the mirrors.
Oh no, I'm thinking of the gargoyle one. That's
I showed you the angels, the statues that come alive one, and then there's another one. I think I played you a clip where at the end it's like an alien race that can like suck the life force from him as a Time Lord, and he hides himself away from them, but they keep hunting him, and like they put people in harm's way to try to get to him.
Oh my god, why are you so obsessed with me?
And then at the end, he becomes a Time Lord again. Like he gives up his human self and becomes a Time Lord, and then he blows up their ship, stranding them. Like somehow that was the only power they had was their ship, and the fact that like they don't they live a long time or something. And so he it's like he there's like a monologue at the end where he punishes each of them, it's a mother, father, like teenage young adult son, and then like a little girl, and the little girl he traps in the mirrors, and so they try to say that like every time you think you see something in the mirrors, it's her. And then
don't like that.
And they even have him. The ending scene is like him at a mirror, and he's like looking at himself, but also like looking behind him. And the little girl is like at behind him in the doorway, and it's like he visits her or he checks up on her every so often
just to make sure she's still there.
Well, I think the writing's so good. It's like to see if he forgives her yet,
okay.
But he hasn't.
Yeah. Well, fair. I mean,
so
maybe he's a Scorpio.
He might be the doctor. David Tennant's doctor at times was a little scornful or like vengeful.
I get that.
So
I feel that.
Yeah.
My souls.
Yep.
Okay.
One last thing I would add.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was on your list or if we're going to talk about it. But the souls in the mirrors reminded me so much of I'd always heard that Native Americans wouldn't let you take their picture because it would capture your soul.
That is a belief, I think, in a lot of different cultures. When photography became a thing, they didn't want you taking their pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's absolutely true.
Yep. So similarly, again, that one just has there's no real it is a superstition, right? But unlike the mirrors, there's no time limit to it. There's no nothing.
You just soulless.
Yep.
All right. On to my next superstition. And this is one that I really, 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 really hate.
Oh, really? Okay.
And that is that black cats are bad luck.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you
Yes.
really don't like that one.
Anybody who knows me or has listened to this podcast knows how much I love black cats. I always dreamed of having one, and a few years ago we were blessed with the coolest guy ever. Shout out to Tracy and Brando for trusting us with their baby.
He's such a good boy.
He is just the best boy. Even when he's being naughty, it's hard
Yeah.
to be mad. And same with Winnie. Even it's just hard to be mad at them because they're so fucking perfect. Like, not to brag, but we do have perfect children, so
I wouldn't describe them as perfect, but they are precious.
they are precious. We would be those parents that are like, it's fine. They can run around. It's fine.
Yeah. Clawing the shit out of your cat. He's just playing.
He's just playing.
Boys will be boys.
Yeah.
All the terrible tropes.
Yep. Black cats in Western culture have often been seen as a bad omen and are associated with witchcraft, Halloween, evil, etc. Cue the veiled racism. Just because they're black.
Veiled?
Yeah.
Veiled?
Terribly veiled racism. So, black cats were often thought of as familiars to witches and evil omens, like we said. Most black cats have yellow eyes that look like they glow.
Yeah.
Because they're similar to like raccoons. They're reflective in the dark.
Okay.
And while cats are not nocturnal, which I thought, they do sometimes roam around at night, which is seen as suspicious because they're veiled under the cover of darkness, doing the bidding of their witches or masters. Or some people even think that black cats were witches. Fun fact, cats are actually crepuscular, which means they're most active during twilight and get a lot of their rest during the day.
Interesting.
Fun fact for you today. I learned that today. So, the superstition of a black cat crossing a person's path being bad luck comes from the cat's association with witchcraft,
Okay.
or again, the racism.
Yep. Something black is in front of me where I was gonna walk. I'm gonna cross the street or lock my doors.
So because of their association with witches and evil, it is said to be a sign of impending death or misfortune to have one cross your path.
Yeah.
While this superstition gained popularity during the 1600s, cue the witch trials.
Right.
This was when the Pilgrims and the Puritans were running amok. Amok. So nowadays, this superstition doesn't really hold much water. Prior to the Middle Ages, though, black cats were seen as a symbol of good luck in a lot of other cultures and civilizations. And as we all know, Egyptians worshipped cats, which, to be honest, I can see why. They're the best. Just saying.
Yeah.
And cats have never forgotten that, is the big joke.
Yeah.
So that's not to say that some folks don't still view black cats as just a cat. They still have that negative connotation around them. And I'd always heard that some animal shelters don't adopt black cats during the month of October because there are bad people who want to adopt them that have ulterior motives, using them in like sacrifice ceremonies, things like that.
Yeah.
But it looks like that's actually just an urban legend. And people adopting black cats to sacrifice them or use them in satanic rituals isn't really a thing.
Okay.
Which makes me happy because that's awful if that was true.
I thought I've seen our Humane Society have pictures of trying to adopt black cats.
Yeah.
Yeah. This month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's sad to think that October black cats have to stay an extra month in the shelter just because of a weird superstition. Yeah. So it made me happy to find out that that's not true.
Okay.
And black cats are really the best. They're just the coolest. Like our Prince Jaxie. He's just the dopest dog ever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dog as in D-A-G-W because he's a cat.
D-A-W-G.
That's it. Like, ooh.
I don't even know what you said.
I don't even know either. I'm tired.
D-O-double-G.
So I firmly believe that ignorance is the blame for this one. For the black cats. My grandma always said, she always tells me, they're just spooky. Yeah.
It's not like you can really see the rest of a cat like at night, even when it's a different color.
No, all you see is the eyes reflecting.
Yeah.
All right, you want to hit me with another one?
Yeah. Let me.
Choke me, devil daddy, choke me.
Okay. I'm gonna go with the latter one. So
Okay.
keep in mind. So this one is the superstition of not walking under a ladder.
That's leaning, right?
Well, it can be a leaning, it can be a tripod. It really is like
you just can't walk under a ladder.
Any ladder.
Okay.
Now it's interesting that you bring up the leaning one.
Mm-hmm.
So again, another source tied it all back to ancient superstitions. In ancient Egypt, it was thought that good and bad spirits resided between a ladder and the wall that it was attached to.
Just chilling under a ladder, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if it was leaning, that space in between spirits resided. If it was like, attached to a wall or jutted out from a wall, like in that small, like 6-inch, 1-foot gap, that's where the spirits reside. Good and bad.
Do you think that's
but generally
where the
bad?
Leave space for Jesus comes from?
No, that's just because horny kids.
Oh, okay.
That's gotta leave room for the boner.
Jesus, I don't think that's what Jesus meant.
Well, it's not what Jesus meant, but that's what. At no point is Jesus like, and ye shall leave room when dancing under the age of 18. No dirty dancing. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
It's all good. But so yeah. So again, same thing applies to a tripod ladder.
Okay.
And it's funny that the religion stuff mixes in with all this.
Mm-hmm.
Tripod ladders. Part of the superstition is that a tripod ladder symbolizes the Holy Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Ghost. And the idea of walking under a tripod ladder is like you're somehow like breaking up the Trinity or something. Yeah, it's kind of it's an affront to the Holy Trinity was one of the sources. And I was like, I don't know anybody who takes that one, but like I mean it fits that all this is like you see stuff to like Egyptians, Romans, and then you also see Christianity ties to it as well.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. And then my favorite reason of why the superstition exists. It's just a freaking safety thing, people. You aren't supposed to walk under ladders when they're up. It's just good occupational safety handbook rules. These are just pure OSHA.
You know what, though? Back in the day, nobody listened to safety shit, but if you tell them they're going to get haunted if they do it, oh, fuck yeah, they're walking around that ladder. They are not walking underneath it.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm on a ladder and somebody walks underneath, I'm yelling at them. You know what I mean?
I'm going to take my leg and kick them right in the... clock them in the side of the face.
Yeah.
In the face.
I think of going back to wrestling, they have ladder matches.
Yes.
Where they hang a belt, or I think like the suitcase one.
Oh God.
Where it's like the suitcases. I don't know if the suitcase was supposed to be full of dollars, and it was like they were wrestling for a prize, like a cash prize, or I think at some point it was like, yeah, it's the Money in the Bank. That's what it is. Money in the Bank. WWE, WWF thing. And then if I remember right, one of the things was you could cash in the suitcase. If you had the suitcase, you could cash it in for a title shot.
Oh.
So
you had to
shit
wrestle.
like that.
Yeah.
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 The ladder matches are always so hilarious because they always have to, they have to like pretend.
Wait, are you telling me that wrestling isn't real?
Yeah. Spoiler for all those people out there. Like, wrestling is physically hard, but when people climb a ladder one rung like a minute at a time because they're waiting for the other wrestler to like recuperate, quote unquote recuperate, like it's like, okay, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
you know?
Go on, get with that bullshit.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I have for the ladder one. It's, did you have any thoughts? Did you have any?
That one always seemed very odd to me. I don't understand. Is it like a symbolism for stairway to heaven? You know, like the ladder? But no, it sounds like it's just spirits. Out of all the places a spirit could hang out,
Yeah.
in between a ladder is the most boring place they could ever hang out.
Yeah. And especially considering they're saying this goes back to ancient Egypt times. How many fucking ladders were there?
All I'm picturing is ladders, like wood ladders to get up the side of buildings.
Yeah.
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 Is what I'm picturing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would think it would be like rich people are in the upper towers, you know, the like higher ones. And so it's a way to like keep people away. Watch out, there's spirits behind that ladder. Don't want to find
There's
the ladder.
poor people out here.
So yeah, hide children, hide your wives. There's poor people out here.
Yeah.
Or the other thought that occurred to me was when I was thinking about this one is like silent movies, Three Stooges.
Yeah.
Like the comedy trope of like walking under a ladder and then like bad things start to happen.
Like a bowling ball gets dropped on you or some bullshit.
Yeah, or like it's always like somebody painting
Mm-hmm.
and then you walk under and like the paint drops on you or something or like almost misses you.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yep.
But that's all I got on that one.
Okay.
So what else you got?
So for my last superstition, I'm going to talk about the rule of 3.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of this?
Yes.
So this one also ties back to like numerology.
Oh yeah,
and
100%.
Christianity, things like that.
Yeah.
So this one has a few different meanings. Death comes in 3, bad luck comes in 3, incidents come in 3s, and there are also some associations with the number 3 that we're going to touch on. So first, let's start with the number itself. 3 actually holds special meaning within several different religions. You have the Holy Trinity, which Adam touched on in Christianity, which is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit embodied in one.
Yeah. 3 entities.
Essentially.
Yeah, the idea is Christianity is a monotheistic. There's one God.
Mm-hmm.
But that one God isn't broken up into 3 parts, but like it's like 3 in 1.
Yeah.
It's a mystery.
Mm-hmm.
It's claimed to be a mystery in the Bible, if I
Okay.
remember right.
Hinduism has a similar concept called Trimurti. I'm probably not saying that right. Which is the 3 Hindu gods who are responsible for creation, which is Brahma, preservation, Vishnu, and destruction, Shiva, are a trio of gods who are responsible for the basic functions in life. So
Okay.
they are, they maintain life, they create it, and they destroy it.
Okay.
So there are some positive associations with the number 3, but there are also some negative ones. So the Hinduism and the Holy Trinity are all thought to be positive associations with the number 3.
Okay.
But there are some negative ones. Now, it could be because of all the religious ties that it also has some superstitious connotations. But in doing my research, most of the superstitions aren't steeped in logic. So do with that what you would like.
Okay.
And I realized that makes it sound like I don't believe in superstitions, which isn't the case. There are plenty of superstitions that I actually think of or do without even realizing. And this is one of them. So let's start with the death comes in 3s. And I say this all the time to you.
Oh, yep.
When a celebrity dies, I always tell Adam, 2 more are coming, because that's the big thing. If one celebrity dies, another one's going to die. Or 2 more will die.
Or it's 2020 and like 10 will.
Yeah. It's like a grouping.
Yeah.
And this doesn't only apply to celebs. It's also believed that death comes in 3s for any and all people. Meaning that anytime one person dies, 2 more are going to follow. And I don't really know how, is it like distant relations, familiarity with somebody, because it's not like when somebody dies in your family, 3 people die at the same time.
Correct.
Yeah.
I've heard the like bad things in 3s can happen to a family, you know, like there might be a death and then maybe like, I don't know, somebody gets hurt and then maybe somebody's sick or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. The issue with this one is that people die all the time. But it's not as much as I thought, because I got curious, so I looked it up.
Okay.
In the US, on average, around 8,000 people die every day. Does that seem low to you?
Maybe not. I don't know.
Well, we have a population in the US of over 3 million.
300 million.
Oh, yeah, sorry, 300 million. Yep. So 8,000 a day doesn't really seem like that high of a number, but if you add that up in a week, that's around 56,000 deaths in a week. So the chance that 3 well-known or semi-well-known folks like celebs dying in the span of a week isn't that big of a leap. It's kind of like the 27 Club, right? You start to try to tie together similarities and you're bound to find some, or look for coincidences, you're going to find them.
Yeah.
Which 27 is also divisible by 3.
Yeah.
And if we really wanted to go down the Illuminati rabbit hole, we could.
Yeah. If I remember right, it's actually 3 to the third.
Sure.
3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27.
Oh,
so it's 3 times 3 times 3, so it's 3 to the third.
Which 3 and 9 are all 6 is divisible by like 3. And 666 is the mark of the beast. Da 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 da.
Yep.
It's all connected.
Yeah.
It seems like if you try hard enough, you can connect the dots to find a pattern. In my research, 3 also applies to bad luck, like Adam says. So if your car breaks down, you're almost guaranteed to experience 2 other mishaps, like you'll stub your toe or lose your keys. The curse of 3.
Yeah.
But in Wicca, the rule of 3 means that whatever you put out into the universe will come back to you threefold. So if you are putting out negative energy, you're going to get that back 3 times, which does kind of mean like it is very similar to if one bad thing happens, 3 bad things are going to happen. If you do one bad thing, 3 bad things are going to come back to you. So it all kind of ties together. So really, just don't do something, don't put out what you wouldn't want to get back in your own life. And that's a good rule for everybody.
Yeah, I'm like that. That's almost just like the golden rule, right?
Yeah.
Like,
And I'm all for this because don't be a dick and put good out into the universe because we need it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it goes back to the motivations of doing good.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do good because you want then 3 good things to happen to you. You should just do it because it's a good thing to do.
Because you want good thing, you want to put good out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was mine.
Okay.
With the 3.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Whole lot of numerology going on.
There really is, and a lot of it's all tied back to religions. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I apologize. I feel like this is kind of a disjointed episode. It's been a long week so far, and it's only Monday, and I'm really tired. But we wanted to do a little hodgepodge for you guys. So, any last thoughts, babe, before we sign off?
I still had one more.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Each did 3.
Okay. Well, hit me.
Okay. Before you sign off. Okay. So my third one.
Okay.
Is the superstition about spilling salt. And then really it goes with the one that I really looked up was the like throwing salt over your shoulder.
Yeah.
And okay.
Kick his ass, Seabass.
Exactly. I was like, first thing we have to talk about is Dumb and Dumber.
You're supposed to throw the salt, not the salt shaker.
Right? It's like, what does he do? He spills salt and then he just throws the whole salt shaker.
He does. Just chucks it behind him.
Yeah. And it hits the trucker, Seabass.
Yep.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, this one is interesting. All right. Yeah, the superstition of spilling salt brings you bad luck. And almost everything I saw kept talking about how, like, salt was, like, a commodity back in the day, a very rare thing. Like, in ancient times, like Rome. And then it was, like, it's how you, I don't know, still preserve stuff or season stuff. So it was, like, I don't know, I saw one that was, like one tall tale was that Roman soldiers were paid with salt, which apparently the thing I read said that that's where the word salary comes from. It's like a giving of salt or something. Yeah. Okay. But to go back to the legend, yes. So salt has tons of connotation tied with protecting yourself from demons, sprinkling it like, what
I
do you
was
want to
just
say,
gonna
ghost
say
circles or whatever.
salt is a very powerful mineral used in a lot of different religions, witchcraft,
Yeah.
Wicca, all kinds of um not even necessarily like a religion. It's very much thought of as a protective
Yeah.
mineral.
One source I was looking at said that salt in water was where like holy water would come from.
Is that where
Like,
holy water came
I
from?
don't know. I don't know.
I thought it was water that was blessed.
Yeah, it's water that's blessed. That's how I've always understood it.
Okay.
But maybe it was blessed with salt,
Oh,
right?
could be.
And then apparently up until sometime like in the early Catholic Church, they would put salt on the lips of the babies when they would baptize them. But then that practice stopped after some point. So,
Interesting.
yeah. So, okay. So I'll just go on. So the legend has that if you spilled salt, you should take a pinch of the salt that was spilled and throw it over your left shoulder to cancel the bad luck. Okay? And you might wonder why the left shoulder.
I was just gonna ask.
Yeah, it was the first question that popped into my head. And it's, oh God, this is so funny. You throw it over the left shoulder because that's the shoulder that the devil is on. You've heard of having an angel on one side and a devil on the other side. Apparently the devil is always on your left side. Like, it probably goes back to people thinking like left-handed was like cursed or something.
Oh yeah, left-handed kids were evil or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and so throwing the salt into the devil's eyes,
blinding that little fuck.
Yes, blinding him so that he can't find you, or keeping him away. Or one source I read even said that like the devil comes to you over your left shoulder, like always approaches over your left shoulder, and I was just like, people got to stop. Like, this is so stupid.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
The thing that cracks me up about any type of any organized religion, belief system, yada yada yada, is that all of these entities follow a certain set of rules.
Yes.
If you're the devil, I would assume you don't give a fuck and you're just going to do whatever you want. If you're God,
there are rules.
If you're God, you can do whatever you want. Like,
right.
Who's going to stop you?
Yeah.
The fact that and like movies that show, like vampires can't come in unless they're invited.
Yeah.
Well, it's a vampire. They can probably do whatever the fuck they want, you know?
Okay.
I feel like it's more of a way to just try to convince yourself that you have some semblance of power over the universe around you.
Absolutely.
Ultimately, you don't. I mean, really, you don't. But you want that sense of, at least there's one thing I can do to try to protect myself, even though it really doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure throwing salt over your left shoulder is like the last thing that stops the devil from doing anything
I'm
to you.
going to say after like the third or fourth time, he's going to duck. He's not just sitting there immobile waiting for you to throw salt in his face.
Yeah. He always wears shades, like blinders, like, oh, someone spilled some salt. Let me flip these bad boys down.
Uh-huh. The funny thing is, too, a lot of people that do those things are very religious and probably don't realize that they're following a very ancient, you know.
Yeah.
It's almost like a ritualistic thing.
Oh, yeah.
And they're doing it without even knowing the real reason why. It's just like, oh, you're supposed to throw salt over your left shoulder if you spill it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's why I would think that, like, any religion that has, I don't know, just what I want to say, weird rules like this or weird rituals or mannerisms, I've never been the biggest fan of.
Yeah.
Like, it starts to get a little silly.
Yeah.
Now there are things that probably seem silly that I do believe in.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think everybody is anything you do is going to seem silly or stupid to somebody, regardless of what you're doing.
Right.
Everybody's going to judge something you do differently or just judge you differently because that's just the nature of human beings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody actually like practice this. I've never seen anybody like,
I don't think I have either.
Like scoop up the salt and throw it over their shoulder.
I think I heard about that the first time on Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I want to say people probably throw it over their right shoulder because they're right-handed.
Oh, yeah.
Like, how are you going to scoop up the salt? And I would imagine I would cut my hand at the end of the table and I would push it. So it might depend on which side of the table I'm on.
So if you're doing that to the wrong shoulder, you're essentially just smacking God in the face with salt.
Yeah, you're putting salt in the eyes of your guardian angel.
Oh, guardian angel.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. No wonder some people have shit luck. It's because they're fucking with their angel and they're like, you know what? Learn the fucking thing or don't do it at all. Okay?
Yep. Guardian angel's like, one more time and I'm out.
I swear to God. One more time. And he can have you.
Yep.
And that's how people lose their way.
I threw salt over the wrong shoulder one too many times.
Yeah. Well, with that, as always, thank you guys for listening. And don't forget to subscribe and download our show, as well as leaving us a 5-star rating or review on whatever platform you're listening on. These all help us become more visible to more people, and it helps us grow our show. Also, please help us out by sharing us with your friends, family, social media, all the things. We are on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube now. All just Creepy Cascadia Pod. Or you can check out our website, creepycascadiapod.com. If you have your own tale of a ghost story, a true crime story, something weird that happened, alien abduction, if you've seen Bigfoot, send us an email to admin@creepycascadiapod.com because we want to hear about it and maybe talk about it on a listener episode. So yeah, we hope everybody has a great Friday the 13th.
Yeah,
Maybe we should go to the casino on Friday.
Oh, so you can win?
So I can win. Yep, win a jackpot.
Well, I'm worried that the only scary movie out there is the damn Exorcism movie. So.
Oh, I'm not watching that. Hell to the nah.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. Don't want to watch it.
Don't want to watch it. But if you want to, good for you. There's a new Saw movie out.
Yeah, but you were never
a
fan of them.
Fan of Saw. Although that Billy the Puppet that's popping up is fucking hilarious.
Oh my god, the Billy the Puppet on the news.
If you guys have not seen it, please do yourself a favor and look up Billy the Puppet on the news. It's the best one is when it's make them away downtown.
Yes.
There's a woman, like there's a female newscaster that's facing a road, and all of a sudden in the peripheral, Billy the Puppet on his tricycle is riding across, and somebody put in that music overlay. Yeah. It's so, every time I see it on TikTok, I save it because we laugh so goddamn hard at that stupid TikTok. It is so hilarious. Maybe I'll find it and put it on our socials because it's so funny.
Yeah. I think we should put it on the socials.
So that being
anybody
said,
following can just see it themselves.
Not being a big fan of Saw, I do like the puppet, Billy the Puppet. So have a great Friday the 13th, and we hope everybody's having a great week. We will be back next week with a new spooky episode for our spooky season coverage.
Hell yeah.
All right. Bye.
Bye.